big hand to the students from right here. Evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Dinsmore. I'm your host and moderator for this evening's event. I'd like to thank you for choosing to be here, first of all. It's a World Series 7th game, and there's lots of things to think about these days, lots of topical news issues, but thank you for being here. Just before I get rolling here, a couple of thank yous to pass along. For starters, the students from Mr. Staither's civic class. They've been a great help to us. And it's nice to see that demographic get engaged with civic events. I'd like to thank Gary Strachan for being the timer. And folks, you'll hear Gary's little whistle when it's time to be seated. I'd like to thank the municipality for affording us this comfortable venue for this forum. And lastly, I'd like to thank all the candidates for being here tonight. Just a couple of reminders before we launch in. Don't forget that there are some advance polls, and they are on November 5th and 12th, and they're both at the City Hall. That poll station will be at the City Hall, council chambers upstairs, but it's serviced by an elevator. And then, of course, on the general election, the polling stations will be Giants Head Elementary and here at Summerland Secondary School. So as mentioned, this is our first opportunity to meet and listen to the candidates as they make their opening remarks. They'll speak to us for 3 minutes each, and then we'll break off into a Q&A. It's my opinion that the most important political office is that of the private citizen, and that's reflected by your presence here tonight. It's up to us to make sure we find our way into the ballot box, making informed decisions. I'd really like to recognize and appreciate the fact that there's this much interest in this election. Last night I was in Penticton to watch their event. There was 25 candidates for 6 council seats. And we have these many folks here tonight, so while it's interesting to see that kind of civic engagement, it creates some logistical challenges for us tonight. And I'll walk you through the process in just a moment. But thanks to the candidates for throwing their hats into the ring. It's not for the faint of heart. You know, I believe each and every one of these folks is here tonight because they have a vision of Summerland that they want to share with us. And the common thread that finds us all here is that we all envision a future tense for Summerland that's near and dear to us. Our role tonight is to pay tribute to these folks and listen to what they have to say as they articulate their vision of Summerland. So with that in mind, just a couple of rules of order. Let's be respectful to each other tonight. Let's listen to what we have to say. If we get a chance to get to the open mics, let's be concise and on point. We're going to have a session with the mayors a little later, and so managing the clock will be something we'll all need to be mindful of. In terms of process, each of our councillors, prospective councillors, will have 3 minutes to make an opening statement. And I'm going to draw from a hat, so it's randomized. And in fact, I think I'll do that right now. Who can I call in? Sir. You read the name for me?
Erin Trainer.
So just let me say that it's 3 minutes. We have a timer, and then we'll just proceed from the left. We'll just go down the table on the left. So the left will go to Joel next and John, so on. So and I'll also afford you folks the light. So you each have tables at the mics. You're welcome to come up and use this mic as well if you'd rather. It's optional. So take it away, Erin.
I'm going to come and stand.
Okay. Do you want me to run for council there?
Going first is always the hardest. All right. You ready? Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Erin Trainer. I am running for council as a way to give back to my community. I believe I am a good leader because I'm able to see the bigger picture. I enjoy listening to both sides. I ask questions, I do my research, and I aim to make fair decisions. I love this town, and I want to see it grow in a way that helps us all prosper while protecting the integrity and history of our community. I am a third-generation Summerlander. My grandparents, Cecil and Dorothy Morgan, moved to Summerland in the 1940s. My mother, Mary Traynor, was born here, and my parents retired here in 2008. My family has always been active in our community, and from them, I have learned the importance of doing my part. My husband, Eric Thompson, and I moved to the Okanagan 4 years ago to start our video production company called ET2 Media. We chose to live in Summerland to be close to our family and because we love the lifestyle that it offered. I also manage the Penticton Farmers Market, coordinate the Trout Creek Community Association, and I teach group fitness classes. Prior to coming here, I worked as a television news writer and producer at CTV Vancouver Island in Victoria. My education includes a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and a diploma in Broadcast Communications. Over the past 2 months, I've been to several council meetings, I've talked with dozens of residents and business owners, and I've attended many community events. I've heard and seen a lot of negativity. Some of this is for good reason. When I first started my campaign, someone asked me, "Why would you want to run for council? Now is not the time, there's too many issues." But that's not how I work. I'm a positive person. I told myself, "Erin, do what you do best. Listen to people, look for opportunities, and look for compromises." Summerland has its share of problems. We're divided on many issues. We've got infrastructure that needs upgrading. We've got a declining population and a downtown that needs a lot of help. Can I finish? Okay. But let's step back from that. We're so fortunate to live in Canada. We have the freedom to debate issues and to express ourselves. Summerland's problems are real, but let's keep them in perspective and let's not let our opinions get in the way of our good intentions. Here's what I stand for: fairness and accountability, smart growth, promoting local business, and health and wellness. I'm ready and willing and able to serve on council. With my leadership, we can find solutions. If I'm elected to council, I promise to lead by example and to inspire you to be active and engaged citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin Traynor. And next, Joel Gregg. Joel, just before we start, the first bell is a 30-second warning bell. So you were actually right on target there, right? Well done.
Good evening, and thanks for coming out tonight. There's a lot of people here that you need to get to know, and I appreciate you taking the time and energy to come and listen to all of us. My name is Joel Gregg, and many of you know my wife is Dr. Cindy Maloshenko. In 2005, we purchased Dr. Tony Clare's dental practice, and it's now known as the Jubilee Dental Center. Neither of us had ever been to Summerland before, but during our first visit in February of that year, we both instantly fell in love with this town. We love the small town charm, the gorgeous scenery, and the fact that within 2 minutes you can get out into Prairie Valley, Garnet Valley, there's orchards, vineyards, hiking trails. It's just fantastic. It was obvious to us that this is where we wanted to put down our roots and raise our family. Our 2 boys are now 7 and almost 10 years old. I have a Bachelor of Business Administration degree, and I worked as a certified public accountant in Napa Valley and for an international accounting firm in Sacramento. My wife and I now run the Jubilee Dental Center and the Jubilee Fitness Club. All I want for Summerland is prosperity. I'd like to see us all prosper together. When I moved here, there were help wanted signs up and down the valley. Now I look around and I see vacant buildings on Main Street, the Wharton Street vacant lot, the Glenford School is closed, and the eyesore on the lakeshore, the old cannery building. I understand that the global economic situation has changed over the past few years, but I want to at least be a part of the solution and try to turn our town around. With our young family and the financial investment that we've made in our residential property and our commercial property, you know that we plan to be here for the long term, and I'm committed to our town. My campaign motto is Summerland Strong, where S stands for our small town identity. We need to preserve that. That's what brought us here, that's what we fell in love with, and I don't want to see that changed. The T is for tourism. That's a big part of our economy, and we need to focus on that. R is for recreational events and opportunities. O is for opportunities for employment. N is for numbers that add up, fiscal responsibility, and G is for growth. If we're not growing, we're dying. There is no middle ground. Our recent growth rate is not healthy and considerably less than that of our neighbors. My door at the Jubilee Dental Center will always be open for you, and I'll be more than happy to listen to your concerns or share my thoughts from council's perspective. My campaign is completely self-funded, and I've not accepted nor solicited financial contributions from any of you. I'd be honored to serve as your councillor for the next 4 years, and would appreciate your support when you vote. And I'm looking forward to your questions tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. And now John Dorn.
Thank you for coming this evening. This evening, you can determine which candidates deserve your vote. I intend to convince you that I should be on council. My name is John Dorn. I'm a businessman with a degree from the University of Waterloo in mathematics. I'm currently the past president of the Legion. Our team helped keep the Legion doors open during the tough times of the recession and the roadside prohibition. I've been president of the Youth Center for the last 6 years and have been honored as a life member of the Kinsman and K40 clubs. I talk to a lot of folks in town, and I'm sad to report many are upset by the sad condition of downtown and the decisions made by council, especially the land swap fiasco. Building houses on high-value agricultural land in the hope that they will come makes no sense. Tonight, I am asking you to vote for me to stop the land swap, and in return, this is what I will do for you. Everybody wants economic growth and jobs. Nobody here has the magic wand, but I have some ideas. My plan would be to reinstate the position of an economic development officer, to seek out, then attract the investors, the entrepreneurs, and the job creators, and bring them to our town. I support an ongoing task force for our economy. Council needs to focus 24/7 on increasing our industrial commercial tax base so that financial reserves can be refilled and infrastructure can be rebuilt, taking the tax burden off of homeowners. This cannot just be a discussion for election time. Affordable housing. I propose leasing the municipally owned Kelly Care and RCMP lands for this purpose. This would put affordable housing in the hands of young families that would shop downtown and fill our schools. Now is the time for a new council to reinstate citizen advisory committees and actually listen to them. I support stable funding for the arts and culture communities, a more suitable location for the downtown art gallery, and a summer arts and wine festival down at the beach in support of our talented artisans and award-winning wineries. I have more ideas and could go on, but we all want to go home sometime tonight. I am engaged, well-informed, hardworking candidate with concrete ideas to re-energize our beautiful town. Please vote for John Dorn, and I promise I will listen to you for the next 4 years. Thank you all.
Thank you, John. Next, Robert Hacking.
Good evening. I'm Robert Hacking. I'm the manager of Papadopoulos Computers and Electronics here in downtown Summerland. I've operated a business in the town core for over 10 years, and I recognize several of you here that I've served through the years. I was born in the old Summerland Hospital that's now just above my house, and I graduated from Summerland Secondary in 1997. I'm also greatly honored to have had the privilege to be a Summerland councillor for the last 3 years. Over those years, I've frequently been asked if I enjoy doing the work, particularly when the issues are challenging. Without hesitation, I always answer, absolutely. There is no work more fulfilling than being able to serve your community you love with the skills you bring to the table. Our community needs strong leadership that understands that decisions made at City Hall have a positive or deleterious effect directly on our town's fiscal viability, our residents' quality of life, and our ability for our business owners to find success in this community. Strong leadership respects the role of the position and the process, and does not cease to challenge assumptions of the past with new insight and new perspective. When I think about what the next 4 years has the potential to be for our community, I get very excited. We're going to have a monumental challenge, and I'm ready to get started. So I thank you for coming and being engaged in this local democracy. I hope we all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Janet Peake.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Janet Peake, and I would like to be elected to council. I'm a person with a passion for serving community. I've been on municipal council for 19 years in the District of Muskoka, and from 2003 to 2010, I was the mayor of the Township of Lake Bays, the gateway to Algonquin Park. They savor their land and their water and their resources the same way as we do here, and they have many of the same challenges in the economy. In the past, I've operated a successful plant and produce business. I held positions in administration in the Provincial Court Family Division and within the long-term care sector as well. I have negotiated successfully with senior levels of government, demonstrated leadership in the devolution of police services in the region in which I worked, participated in the Fair Tax Commission, and worked with the federal government in organizing the G7. My extensive experience with all levels of governments, I hope, will be an asset to our community. I want to help to revitalize Summerland's downtown, which can then highlight our very healthy, active, friendly town. We should be actively pursuing new businesses to relocate and expand into Summerland. There is an opportunity to market our area to those in the oil, gas, and mine industry, opening their minds to the lifestyle, climate, and friendly community and all the amenities that we have to offer. I believe that youth and families and arts and culture, which we support, will help us to enrich us in social ways, culturally, and economically. Continued investment in infrastructure provides direct economic benefit through employment, provides livability for local residents, and is a key enabler for businesses and industry to develop. We also have a beautiful waterfront with areas that could possibly be redeveloped. Council, with its planning policies and the process involved with these, helps to set the stage for development, reducing red tape by integrating processes between municipal departments can help to make applications less frustrating. The general tone of council as to whether they are interested in sourcing and inviting investors, commercial and light industrial businesses into our area is very important. They should be working collaboratively with the businesses that are presently established here to assist where they can to market, promote, and encourage future viability. Inviting these businesses to a roundtable discussion to look for ideas and ways to create a more vital and prosperous downtown could be a good start. If council were to set up an economic development committee and a financial advisory group, perhaps many of the highly skilled and experienced people in the community could come together and determine ways to improve our town's economic outlook. We have a beautiful, friendly, and welcoming town. Let us work together to revitalize and make it more prosperous. I have enthusiasm, integrity, and dedication. Please vote for me in this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Ken Rodeker.
Hello, Summerland. My name is Ken Rodeker. I'm a local business owner. I have a business up here in town as well as lower town. I've owned and managed businesses for 35 years. Since coming to Summerland, I've been involved in the Summerland Merchants Committee, Earth Week Committee, Movies in the Park, and was instrumental in getting Friday night markets brought to Victoria Street downtown, Victoria Road downtown, for the past 2 years. I'd love to see Summerland united and rejuvenated with the downtown core brought back to life. Imagine bringing back the taste of Summerland with the stores open, wineries selling their wine, farmers sharing their produce, live music, people everywhere. I see so much potential in Summerland. We need to get our 11,000 plus people using and enjoying Summerland. We need a council that has good common sense skills on focus, or to focus on what's going on in Summerland and what Summerland needs. I would like to create a business advisory commission or committee to help our businesses with any problems they're having. Also a web link so that you could talk to your council and they can talk back to you, so you'll get some answers. The most important thing I've learned in business is communication. Listening is the only way to communicate properly, and I'm here to listen to you. Now, I want to keep this short because I do want to hear your questions, because that's really what's most important to me, what you guys are thinking out there. So I'll just close with, I'm asking for your vote. My name's Ken Rodeker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Richard Barkwill.
Thank you, Dan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Barkwill, and I would like to begin tonight with the answer to the first question that I always get. And that answer is yes, whatever Barkwill it is that you know, I'm related to them. That's because I was born here in Summerland and raised with 7 brothers and sisters and 3 cousins. I graduated from this school, and I attended UBC for a degree in agriculture and a Master's of Business Administration. I'm also a certified general accountant and now work as a corporate income tax auditor. It can be complicated, but it is interesting work. The proposed land swap is the biggest issue that faces our community today. It will shape the character of Summerland for all the years to come. And with all due respect to my fellow candidates, voters need to know where they stand on this issue. Elections are for electing people who share your priorities. And if you do not know where they stand on an issue as fundamental as this, how can you know they share your vision of what we're going to make, of how we're going to make this town great? The land swap is a bad deal for the taxpayers of Summerland. The taxpayer-owned land that would go into the land reserve will go down in value by millions of dollars, and the privately owned land will go up in value by even more. Furthermore, Smart Growth BC, who people like to quote all the time, says that agricultural land uses generate about $1 for every 35 cents that it costs to service them. That's because it is people that cost money, not trees. But this is only one issue. In his last report to council, our chief administrative officer said Summerland has a massive infrastructure deficit that is growing and growing. As an accountant, I am the one most capable of staying on top of municipal finances, asking the right questions, and ensuring the proper analysis is done before decisions are made. Many of the great things about Summerland are due to the high level of community involvement here. Different people have different interests, and one area where I feel interested people are not being allowed to make the contributions they could is with our local government. I would change that. So this election is really about 2 broad issues: decisions that affect our finances and community consultation. Do we want a council that is willing to consult with and harness the talents available in our community, or do we want a council that thinks it alone has all the answers? Is that the end? Remember me, Richard Barkwill. I'm the last name on the ballot.
Even though you knew that was the end, he got the last word in. Thank you, Richard. Doug Holmes.
My name is Doug Holmes. Most of the community knows me as the tennis guy. My background, though, is in international business and journalism, and so I've worked quite a few places around the world. I've been in Summerland for 10 years, and I've never seen the community so polarized as it is today.
We can't hear you.
Sorry. I've lived in Summerland for 10 years now. I've never seen the community as polarized as it is today. As Richard mentioned, there's one big issue here that when I'm out talking to people, first thing they want to know is which side are you on about the swap. So I agree, every candidate must state their position on this. You can't sit on the fence. This is something we can't sit on the fence. The train has already left the station. The issue is already in progress. We have to know, which direction you're going to drive that train. So, so we know, the voters, it's your right to know where everybody stands on this issue. Then it's up to you to decide, and then that'll settle it. After this election, this should be settled. And we've got to move on from the us versus them attitude in this community back to we're all in this together, so we can tackle all these other issues that people have been talking about, downtown revitalization and so on. The council needs consensus builders, and we have to embrace the principles of accountability and citizen engagement. Myself, I'm a very smart growth 8 years ago in an election, it was a very dirty 2 words to use. Now everybody's throwing it around and using it. I believe in smart growth principles. Now smart growth, it's an approach to land use that focuses on infill, redevelopment, densification, promotion of local business, and protection of agriculture and green space. That's the premise of smart growth. And some people may tell you that removing 200 acres from the ALR is smart growth. It's not. That's the opposite of smart growth. Okay, so I'm against doing that. And you can play a little game here. On my table, I have the Smart Growth BC 10 basic principles. You can take those, look at the land swap proposal. And it's kind of like, where's Waldo, that game. You try and find out where the smart growth is in that proposal. The only difference is you eventually find Waldo. But I don't think you're going to find any smart growth in the land swap proposal. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. Denise McDonald.
I wish I could see you. The lights are dark back there. Good evening, and thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Denise McDonald. It's the first time running for council. My husband did say that I had to live here 30 years before I could run, so I've done my time. And all of my background is in my pamphlet with not very much about my platform, but you can find out more about me in the pamphlet. I have worked as a manager for the tree fruit industry. That's 30 years ago now. Recently, I was on the BC Fruit Growers Association Executive Director for 7 years and an orchardist for over 30 years. I've been a wife. I am a wife, a mother. And with that, I have learned the art of managing money, issues, conflicts, personalities, while at the same time respecting different values and points of view. I believe that most people are working harder and longer to make a living with less time to worry about how the town is being governed and managed. Issues are becoming more complicated and serious. Finances are strained to the limit. I believe we all need to work together to ensure the health and well-being for all in our beautiful town. Priorities for infrastructure upgrades, delivery of potable water to Garnet Valley, fire protection, and a drought management plan are all important in planning for future growth and environmental events, which we are going to experience, and future growth we are going to get. Any major project should have the community participating in the process. Downtown core projects need buy-in and consensus from a wide range of community groups and residents. Height restrictions, zoning changes, lane houses, new innovation businesses, all need council to have a clear vision for the town's development and growth. I see red tape has a trusted and reasonable guideline, or it should be, to ensure the safety to the public and to the environment. We can't spend our way to prosperity, but a 10-year strategic financial plan would mitigate the temptation for councils to overspend and overextend. Today, change is occurring, it seems, faster than ever before, where the quick and the nimble survive and the slow and the rigid fall by the wayside. Old ideas could be new again, and new ideas forward-thinking. As a community, we need to care for the vulnerable and the seniors in our area in good times as well as bad. I imagine Summerland being a tight community where each resident and sector helps the other to success and adapt to a changing, complex world. We are a small community already talking to each other. Let's plan and be prepared for the next wave of change coming our way. Vote for McDonald, and I will work for you all.
Thank you, Denise. I've not been a wife, so I found those comments refreshing. Erin Carlson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erin Carlson, and for the record, I think we should keep all 200 acres in the ALR. I've been participating in this community Thanks. I've been participating in this community for my entire life, and I believe I have the right attitude for this job that we're being interviewed for. I'm glad we're all able to be here tonight to talk about these ideas. Summerland has a lot of ideas, and I think we need to get them out on the table. I'm ready to listen and I'm ready to participate. I hope that you feel the same way. If we're going to succeed in moving our town forward, we will have to find some common ground, and we will need to achieve an ultimate goal. I know that we're all sitting up here because we believe that Summerland can be something great. And I may try to get us there on a different path than the other candidates up here. However, the ultimate destination, I believe, is the same. I want a prosperous Summerland with healthy families, great amenities, and safe, up-to-date infrastructure. These things are not going to happen overnight. However, with the energy and enthusiasm that I've experienced from the citizens in this town over the past year, I know that it's going to happen. The number of people I have met that are interested, excited, informed, and up-to-date is phenomenal. We may have some of the most creative and well-educated people in the province living in this town. They're paying attention to what is going on, and they would like to be heard. I'm sitting up here tonight because I believe it's time for people to make decisions on behalf of Summerlanders after they listen to Summerlanders. And I'll end my introduction with a quote from Shane Khoisan. He said recently, "Change is like rain, it starts with a single drop."
Thank you, Erin. Mark Smith.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Mark Smith. I'm running for council. I've worked in the IT, or information technology sector, for 26 years and lived in Summerland for over 20 years. My wife corrected me, said it was over 25 years. My wife and I have raised two daughters here, one who's graduating this year, and my other daughter is attending UBCO. I love Summerland, and running for council is giving me an opportunity to give back to a community that's helped me raise my children. I have been involved with a number of committees at work and in the community, and sit on the board of directors for the Network Professionals Association, which has given me a lot of experience in working in committees and working with different viewpoints and stuff. As a voter, I felt disconnected by the decisions and direction of council. I've talked to a number of individuals who live here, and there have been a lot who have some really good ideas about ways to improve our community. The decisions of the current council seem to be against the wishes of the majority. My goal is to represent the community and work towards compromise where conflict exists. I want to provide open, honest communications and work hard to provide you with the information you need to make the right decisions. Initially, I thought people would have a lot of questions about what I wanted to accomplish, what my platform was, but what I got was a lot of people wanting to tell me about the problems they're having. Unfortunately, apathy is very high in the community, and a positive result of the ALR land swap is that we have 5 candidates for mayor and 16 candidates for council, and a lot of discussion about the problems. So many people have told me that Peachland has heated washrooms in the winter, and that's where they go to walk and enjoy the outdoors. I've heard a lot of complaints about the roads that people travel. The bulk of our tax dollars must go to maintain the infrastructure that we have before we consider expanding. Expansion costs a lot and does not provide increased tax revenues in the short term. We've got to utilize what we have here, right? We've got to build up what we have. We already have infrastructure and we have empty lots. So let's worry about getting those built up and fixed. And let's get the infrastructure fixed. And then we'll see what's left and we can talk about other things that we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Tony Booth.
Thank you, Dan. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tony Booth. My name is Tony Booth. I was born in Vancouver, and in 1962, my parents moved from Vancouver Island to Summerland. I am one of 10 children in a multiracial family, and for those that have lived here for some time, I am one of the so-called Lee kids. I am a preacher's kid. I am the mother of 2 grown sons who graduated from this school, as did I, a long time ago. I am the founder and owner of Grasslands Nursery. We just finished our 10th year of business in Summerland, and earlier this year, my company was awarded the Chamber of Commerce Sustainability Leader Award. I think Summerland is at a pivotal point, and based on the number of people that have put their name forward in this election, I think that I'm not the only person thinking this way. Just like any relationship between people or entities, there must be open and honest communication between council and the residents of Summerland. Ongoing dialogue and opportunities for residents' voices to be heard and listened to build trust and respect. This in turn leads to enthusiasm and a collaborative spirit. When we act as leaders and represent those we serve, we can address as a united community any issues and tough decisions that come our way. And surely we will expect that tough decisions will come our way. As your elected councillor, I will support the withdrawal of the application made to the Agricultural Land Commission. If the application is processed before the elected candidates take office, I will vote against the proposal when it comes back to council for a 4th and final reading. Further, I will work to institute municipal policy to protect our agricultural sector above and beyond that provided by the Agricultural Land Commission. If elected, I will strongly advocate for the hiring of an economic development officer and work to ensure adequate resources are allocated for the EDO and support staff. I do have some ideas I hope to bring to the table to stimulate the business sector. However, the role of a councillor is not to implement ideas, it is to ensure policy, zoning, and resources are in place to allow for this transformation. Again, it all begins with conversations with the people of our town. We must recognize that business follows people, not the other way around. Our goal is to attract people to Summerland and plan accordingly. People need housing. We need a healthy lifestyle. We need to feel safe, We need to have good schools. We need transportation and infrastructure, and we need to feel welcomed and a valuable part of the community. Finally, I would like to see Mayor and Council delegate at least one elected official to act as a liaison between the EDO and Council and attend key collaborative sessions. This is our town. This is our time. I am asking for your vote on November 15th. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. I've had all this time to work on the last name. Daniel, give me some feedback. Daniel Papadopoulos.
Hello, I'm Daniel Papadopoulos, and I'm very interested in Summerland. I've been here since I was a little kid, and I used to come in the summers and enjoy it, and it was more thriving back maybe when I was 8 or 9, but everything seems a little more exciting when you're 8 or 9. It'd be nice to see a lot more younger families here. It is growing. It definitely has been growing over the years. A little bit slower than other cities. I've been traveling a lot as well. I've lived in Maple Ridge, Mission, and just seeing the cities grow. And it would be nice to see a lot younger people here, and yeah, mainly families. I'm supporting the ALR as well. I think that's very important. Farming, the community, and I kept mine short. I'm last, and so I'll keep it to the point, right? But yeah, thank you for listening.
Thanks to all the candidates for their opening remarks. Let me just remind you that we have 2 parts to this evening. The mayoral candidates will come up just shortly after 8:30. We'll take a break around 8:30 for 5 minutes or so. Martin, we'll do a quick shuffle on the stage. You can have a bio break. I pushed for a martini bar. My efforts did not meet with success. I apologize for that. So we'll run till about 8:30 now with some Q&A that you've generated, and so I'll put the questions to the candidates. And in order to facilitate the numbers here, I think what we'll do is just each person will be asked one question, and then the next person on their left will get the next question, and so on. So that sees us till about 8:30 or so, and then we'll get a chance to stretch and have a break. Folks ready? Erin, it makes sense, I guess, to come back to you on this one, and then we'll just move down the table the same way. This question is, let me try and paraphrase a bit. What is your vision for our Lakeshore Lower Town area? And what's your sense of the congestion that exists there in the summertime now?
Did you say congestion down there?
Correct. That's literally what it says. I expect it's about tourism.
Okay. Well, I ride my bike and I run a lot in Lower Town, and I definitely think it has a lot of potential. It's a beautiful area, especially for recreation, and I think that once the trail goes in between Trout Creek and Lower Town, that's going to be a really big benefit for the area and something that we can promote. In terms of what I think for the future, there's a couple empty buildings down there, and I was down there a couple days ago taking photos of it, and I think that that's kind of a waste of space. I think that we have the potential to put something there or to promote that area to develop, whether it's condos or homes or even more parkland would be great. That's the kind of thing that I would like to see, building on the recreation opportunities that we already have down there. I really like a local restaurant. I think that that's great. Maybe some other kind of restaurant down there, but definitely building on recreation and promoting our new trail, which I'm very excited about.
Thank you. Joel, this question clearly comes from the Garnet Valley. When can we expect potholes to be paved and resurfaced?
I had a resident out towards the end of Garnet Valley, I believe it was in the 2002-3 other section of the road where I put my sign. So I got to drive the Garnet Valley Road recently. I understand there are some potholes, and I've heard from others. I've read in the paper, the letters to the editor. I'm fully aware of the concern for the residents of the condition of the road. As to when we can take care of that, I also understand that it's not as simple as just bringing in a paving machine and just smoothing it over. I believe there's some services that need to go in as well. So At this point, I'm not prepared to give a time frame. It's something I'll definitely be considering when the budget comes out, and we'll definitely look at the priorities. There's also, I just learned at council meeting this week that the Canyon View Road is also competing for our funding. So it's not easy to answer when and which is more priority. I wish I could give you a time frame, but at this point I'm unable to, but I am aware of it and I'm happy to address it as soon as we can.
Thanks, Joel. Should I ask John then about the golf course and paving out that way? Gotcha. John, this question's for you. It's lengthy. I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. It's talking about, I guess the essence is, do you believe in a per capita funding formula for arts and culture?
I don't think it really matters what kind of funding formula you have for arts and culture. I think the question is stable funding for our arts and culture. We see that the art gallery has been moved to Main Street and it's thriving from that location, but the actual building is not adequate for the art gallery. So the art gallery is going to need a bit of help in transitioning to a new location, hopefully in downtown. So they're going to need a little bit more money to do that transition. But I think the key thing is, rather than deal with the nuts and bolts of how the funding gets to the Arts Council, I think it's more important that they have some stable funding so they know how to plan.
Thank you, John. Robert, this question is for you. In order to attract young families to Summerland, both jobs and affordable housing are required. What's your plan to attract this segment of population to our community?
That's probably the key issue right now, is how do we make our businesses thrive and how do we get more families here? And for me, as a recent homeowner, I see the struggle with market entry housing and how Summerland has very difficult time competing with Penticton. They have Skaha Hills coming up, and with Peachland with the recently announced development they have up there. So this is a multi-legged focus here, and I think the main thing is we need to make sure we have housing that's market entry for the jobs and investment that's going to come to this community. We've opened up Bentley Road Industrial Park, so we have some industrial land that is available for development, and we also have a lot of commercial space in the downtown core. We need some families to provide customers for those businesses and also employees for those businesses. So I think if we can grow our residential population in the core, I think we'll be in a much better position to see our commercial sector survive.
Thank you, Robert. This is the flip side of that. It identifies retirees as having the financial resources available and on hand to contribute to the local economy. So the essence of this is, what would you put in place in order to attract that demographic? Jen.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you for the question. I believe that probably the amenities we already have here are the kinds of things that does attract retirees. The fact that we have a beautiful community, that we have the climate that we do, that there are so many ways to engage yourself in an active lifestyle, which I believe is much more what retirees do nowadays than they did 40 or 50 years ago. So I think that Summerland has the opportunities there. Perhaps we need to market ourselves in various ways, and whether it's an economic development officer or whether it's an economic development committee, which meaning a group of skilled individuals that talks about the ways to take ourselves out into the world and market ourselves to young families and to retirees, would be very important to us. We certainly need to have a richer fabric of a mix in our community, and I think those are the ways to get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Ken, this question is asks you to consider, is it important to have continuity on council?
Well, I have heard they've had split councils in the past. Is it important to have continuity? Absolutely not. We need individual thinkers. We need people that can show other ways of thinking of the same thing outside of the box. So continuity won't work, individuality will. Thank you.
A bit of a lob ball there, I guess, really. Richard, for you, how do you propose to stimulate economic growth in order to broaden the tax base required to support new development, this is a run-on sentence, and maintain Summerland's aging infrastructure? So, how do you propose to stimulate economic growth, broaden the tax base to pay for all the infrastructure requirements? And you have 40 seconds left.
Thank you, Dan. I think the question. Thank you, Dan. I think the question is simply, what plans do you have for economic stimulation in Summerland? And I've outlined some of those things in my brochure. And in the broadest sense, I think we have to build on our strengths. And one of our strengths is the lifestyle that we offer here in Summerland. And it attracts a lot of seniors. And I believe that seniors are jobs. They're jobs for every level of skill, from the physicians to the house cleaners. It's a job for everybody, and once we get to that critical mass where we have a lot of seniors, we will attract even more because there's the facilities for them. There'll be hearing specialists, physiotherapists, and such. But that's only one.
Thanks, Richard. That was a big question. I appreciate that. Doug, this question is asking, if you were elected, would you be supportive of reinstating the position of Economic Development Officer?
I think for economic development in general, we need some sort of strategic planning to go on. We need a strategic plan, and that you consult with the community, you engage with the community, and figure out exactly what we need to do in the big, broader picture of economic development, and whether we need to hire an economic development officer would come out of that strategic planning. So for me to say right now, yeah, we need it. Sounds great. Sounds like it'd be something we should have. We look at municipal finances and everything like that, and it's got to be part of community engagement and figuring out what the community wants and needs and what's going to move us forward.
Thanks, Doug. This is a question that's asking about transit. And I think the questioner is looking to find ways to create more transit opportunities rather than just daytime. And how would you approach that problem?
We've got transit to Penticton, and we've got some within town here. Minimal. My husband and I often thought that it's odd that the businesses want people coming to town, but yet we're taking customers into Penticton, which is important. But perhaps we could expand the bus route to get people into the downtown core, not just their doctor's appointments in Penticton. I know the young people would like to get picked up at 2 o'clock in the morning to come home again. I've heard that often. But again, it would have to be stakeholders coming to the table and talking and trying to figure out the most feasible plan without putting our local taxi cabs out of business.
Thank you, Denise. Erin, your question is, why does Summerland have higher land and housing prices compared to Penticton and Peachland, although Peachland has heated toilets?
Speculation may be part of that. In Summerland, Summerland was built on speculation. That's why people came here in the first place. But we also have very high-valued farmland, and we have this great demand for this lake view and this valley view that we do offer, but it's expensive to build on those hillsides. And unfortunately, that's our option because that's where we live, and we choose to live here for many reasons, one of them being that it is a small, beautiful community, and people do come here with their money. I know lots of people that have come here recently. I've met tons of people, and many of them can't afford to buy homes. And unfortunately, it's not just a story of Summerland, it's a story of people in my age group across the entire province, across the whole country, unless you're going to go to Saskatchewan, where they will build on anything, including the farmland. So we've chosen to live this way, and we're going to keep doing that, is my hope.
Some of you folks wrote some big open-ended questions to squeeze into a minute's response, but we'll have a go at this.
Bring it on.
Bring it in. Do you believe in heated toilets? Mark, what's your vision for Summerland, medium to long term, and how would you take us there?
That's a great question. We have a lot of good businesses in Summerland with some good ideas. We need to cooperate with those businesses and start to brand Summerland so that the marketing successes of an individual business benefits all the businesses. That's going to bring in agritourism dollars. That's going to promote Summerland as a community to live in. We're going to have tax dollars for more infrastructure like hiking trails, biking. By increasing transit, we're going to have more people. Rather than drawing business to Penticton, we do it the other way. Penticton is a big market. By increasing transit and by promoting Summerland, we can reverse the trend and we can draw people to Summerland and uniquely brand our business. We're not going to build a Walmart here and a Canadian Tire, right? We're too small a market, but we can develop businesses that will attract people to here, like Willowbrook Lane used to be. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Tony, do you consider arts and culture important in Summerland? And if so, how would you support those groups?
Thank you for that question. I do think that arts and culture is very important in Summerland, and it falls, to me, culture falls in that realm of possibilities that arts and culture offer to Summerland residents as well. I think that if we use our natural resources that we have, our soil, our land, our climate, and combine that with the other valuable assets that we have here, we have a tremendous opportunity based on the number of people that live here that have incredible skills, whether it's artistic skills in the form of performing arts, or if it's something that is more visual. There are musicians, potters, quilters, writers, musicians. It just goes on and on, the wealth of assets that we have in Summerland, and I think that we should build on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Daniel Papadopoulos. Why has Summerland only grown 1% in the last 10 years? Higher housing prices, land, etc. Seemingly a lack of affordable housing. Why the low growth rate, from your perspective?
Thanks, Dan.
You can go with lack of heated toilet seats.
All right. I would say lack of business growth, maybe. I've noticed. Yeah, I'm stumped. Sorry. I'm not going to make anything up either.
Honestly. Thank you, Daniel. That's a good question. I'm not sure how to approach that one either. You came here. So we've been around the horn. How's your appetite? Are we okay for one more round of questions and then we'll take a little break? Are you hanging in there? Everybody comfortable? The seats are padded?
Free coffee and apple pie.
There is free coffee out in the lobby. Not yet, though.